If you wanna be my friend, you had better go and get a pen. So maybe we can keep in touch like we did in the old days. It wasn't so long ago. And I wish you well. So high. Signed your pen pal.
Oh, that little English? English?
You put a little Whitney Houston on it?
Well, first of all, thanks. I was not getting caught again this time with my pants down.
Good. You know what makes me
good.
angry? When someone sings like you just did, but effortlessly.
Oh, shut
because you
up,
don't know how
Rory.
hard people like Daniel and I, like Lissa sings, you sing. Daniel and I are straining to sound passable.
Should I tell what happened to me?
Yes.
Well, hold on.
That
Now it sounds way too heavy.
I'm in New York. I get off at 32nd Street.
Yeah, Herald Square.
Herald
Stop
Square.
on the yellow
Okay.
line.
You were with him?
No.
No.
Okay.
I'm walking up and I'm hearing a busker, right? And it is a woman singing, I Want to Dance with Somebody.
Aww.
Crushing. I mean, she is, and she's got
Love
about
it.
40, 50 people have all
that's
kind of gathered
that's-
around. Yeah,
that's legit.
She's I have video of it.
Yeah.
She's belting. I
Yeah.
mean, just,
Crushing it.
oh. And then I videoed a little bit because I was like, oh, I'm going to show this to Lissa. Look at this awesome woman singing, you know? And I stop, and then I go, I don't want to like walk away. I want to give like a couple bucks, but I'm going to wait until she like moves kind of out into the audience. Because you walk behind them to drop it, you know? And I had seen a couple other people. You can even see in the video, a couple people walk up, and she goes, thank you, like in between, and keeps going. So I stand there, and I'm waiting for the right time, and then she kind of like looks from me to the door that you come in. It's a good distance, right? And she like looks over at me, and I want to be like, yeah. So I kind of give her like a smile and nod like I'm into it. And she's like, oh yeah, you know. So then she steps forward, and this is my spot, and I walk behind her, and I put a couple bucks in the thing, and right when I do, she turns around and she was like, oh, and so then she free this hand, and she's like, I want to dance with somebody. And she starts like dancing with me, and I'm like, all right, you know. And you kind of like want to go along with it, and you don't want to be. So she's got my hand, and she's like, I want to feel the heat with somebody, right?
Well, sounds great, by the way.
really
Yeah.
good.
She's doing it, and then
Straining,
she's like,
but he's
she's looking, and she's like, he's cute, he's dancing, he's cute, and then she's like, and she puts it, and I go, and she goes with, and I go, somebody who loves me, and I just belted as best I could, and no one saw that coming, and I'm not saying I hit it like put me on stage tonight, but I hit it as you were just like better than people were like, and then the place goes insane, right? And then I was like, well, that was fun, still with the hand, and we do like 30
They're married.
back,
They're married now.
I'm like,
It hasn't.
Well,
She's here. She's right on that.
We were married. We're separated. But
legally separated.
yeah, and it goes on for too long, like in my mind. And and I'm doing and then she gets like that big note, and she goes to me, and I was under.
Who wouldn't be?
I know. But the place, and then
Always a bottom.
and then
Always a bottom.
That's a very
It's
different
just what
show.
he is.
That's
It's
a
just
different
what
show.
he is.
And then I was like, okay. And then she was like, he's cute, he can dance, he can sing. And I'm like trying to like walk away. And then I'm like walking away, like shaking, like I just did stand up for the first time, you know? I go up outside. I'm in like, I'm at 34th Street. Now like, I went the wrong way.
An agent is approaching you.
I go on that night in Bye Bye Birdie.
It's not even on Broadway anymore. They
I'm
revived
on Broadway
it just so
that
I could-
night. That night, I'm in a
Conrad
show.
Bernie.
But the thing is, too, he was wearing a sweatshirt, like a black sweatshirt and black
No, I had
jeans.
I had my
Oh, and you had a
jacket.
jacket.
Well, you're not
on.
telling that. You had a
Jay had a
sweatshirt.
beanie.
You had a sweatshirt that said "Get me involved," and
Here-
so
He had to participate.
Here to perform.
big participant. Go ahead and pull me in.
He had a beanie on, so it absolutely could have come across as a plant, like because he
Oh.
was so
Inconspicuous.
inconspicuous. Yeah, and there's nothing about him that like would like you don't see him and you're not like, oh well, clearly he's a Broadway performer, so
Right.
he like.
You're sweating and shaking.
We have this disease.
You'd have had a religious
There was a
experience
part
just
of
now.
me that wanted to very much be like, no, you know. But then there's a part of me, as we've done as performance, where I was like, don't be the guy who goes,
have to.
I'm not.
Yes,
so
to
like, go
help.
into
Yes,
it. And then
and.
the real disease that the three of us has is, well, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do.
I
like,
should do it.
Do it.
100%.
Yes.
Try.
Yes. It was
100%.
And I'm not shitting you. At least if there were 50 people there, at least 25 of them are all filming the whole thing. So it's
Oh, this is
somewhere
out
Like
there.
I'm going
Yes,
viral.
I'm gonna
I
find
don't-
this.
I don't know
I'm gonna
how you
find
would
this.
even find it.
And
I
then
don't
I'm
know.
gonna sign you.
I want to dance with somebody 34th Street or whatever. Like, you'll find it.
I have no
You'll find
idea.
it.
I was just
What
like,
I love is just keep in mind.
keep
Remember where you
right
are.
now.
Daniel just said, "I don't even know how to find it." He and I are actively searching for a person for actual case in Petaluma.
I'm so glad.
But
That's what I
Daniel
wanted you to
just
say.
said, I don't even know how to sign into Facebook." Essentially,
what would you? I don't know your hashtag. Street perform. I mean, I guess you figure out. I just don't think that it's that. It wasn't like an event where you're like, oh, it happened at a concert. You know, you could like geotag.
it's out
it, all
there.
that
You're
other
Saying.
TikTok. You don't even know that you're TikTok famous right now.
That's right.
I can't find. This is its own short film where there's someone like putting a phone down in a massive office and a cigar. Like, this is the talent we're talking about, and we can't find him.
I don't
Find
think
him!
I didn't hit.
Mine,
I
this
This
is
is
didn't,
a
the
Christmas
sound you've
movie.
been looking
This
for.
is a Christmas
Listen
I
to
didn't
movie.
hit it because that was the other
Find
part
that
too.
man. We need him for the Christmas special.
In this room with two friends, it's you know, it's very like the adrenaline. I wasn't like. I was under it more than I was even now. Like, I know that it, but I also know at the same time, no one expected me
To belt it out.
to do anything. It was so invigorating while also like, then we do like the self-love. Like, why did I do? Why I should have just like that whole
It's
thing.
because it's the counterbalance. Because for us, it's such a like high.
Yeah.
Yes.
And your body has to like it. Like,
Yeah.
so when we were wrapping physical, I had gotten a really serious injury. I actually got pulled out of filming for like 5 days.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, I got a really bad neck injury. It was this really weird thing. Anyway.
Oh, I think we talked about
I'm
this.
on like insane amounts of drugs. In fact, I'm texting with Rose and like I don't remember texting with her. I made plans with all these people. Like,
Yeah.
I have these crazy stories about it. Anyway, first day back is our last 2 days of filming. And Annie comes up to me and she's like, hey, I have this little plan. I want you
Yep.
to sing Olivia Newton-John for Rose on the last day, hopelessly devoted to you. And this is me just able to move my neck for the first time. I was like, yeah, totally. And then it's the last
I
day
was
of filming.
there.
Yes.
I showed up to
And
watch.
they played it, and I'm like, it's the disease.
Yeah.
And I did a very passable job at it.
Oh, you were
But
great.
I did, but everyone's emotional. I mean, there was a lot riding
Yeah.
on it. But I was like going the whole time I'm doing it. I'm going, oh my god, you need your neck to
Yes.
sing. Like you have so much. So I
Yes.
was like, and it just came straight from my gooch
Yes.
that I was like, that now,
Yeah.
this now. Like it's so high. And I'm
Yes.
going the whole time. Why did I agree to this?
Yes.
'Cause
Yes.
I have a disease.
Yes.
It's a disease.
To not let anyone
And then
down.
I to myself, I'm like, why did I shouldn't have tipped? Or why didn't I just keep, wave and keep, like, why would she reach her hand on everybody would have been fine. I was like, no. But then I'm like, I hate that person. Like, we want the magic. We're in New
You
York.
know it's a disease
Christmas
when
in New
you
York. Like,
you know it's a disease when you're a professional entertainer who just busks a little bit because you just need to re-up on the drug real quick before you get out of the subway. And that's what
wild moment.
I just need a little hit.
I just
Little
need a
hit before
quick
the
I
show
just need a
tonight.
quick hit before I walk 4 blocks to get dinner.
Let's go. Let's eat.
can't
No.
get in that
I gotta
stuff.
jump on the L train. I
Hold
gotta
on,
go see if I can find something real
Who
quick.
is it? What are they
There's-
singing?
there's
Is that a
usually-
duet? Is that a duet?
You want to make it a duet?
Yeah. All right, we're gonna be right back after these messages. Let's go to the letters. Which one are we doing?
I don't know.
This we all got this one.
What is this?
Hopelessly devoted
It's such a catchy song.
This one?
This one? You
Yeah,
want me
you
to
do
do
it.
it?
Yes.
You
I
do
think
it.
so. Okay, I'll do it. Hello, dearest pals.
That's all of us at the same time. That's all of us at
Last
the same
time we never got past the high of
Yeah,
the letter, so
that's right.
let's keep this.
That's right. Well,
Let's keep this.
that's
That was
and
the
that's our
best.
promise.
But also, I feel like
our promise.
That's our promise to the listener.
our
But I
promise.
feel like it went with dearest because Daniel. Like they wanted
maybe.
hello, and then they're like, they felt bad.
Dearest sounds like Dierdre to me.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Lisa.
Yeah.
And that R is so hard,
Dierdre.
and that's in my name, so it's like me.
In my name.
It's also in mine.
So it's probably
It's also
That's in
mine.
my name.
what R?
Daniel,
Van Kirk.
Kirk, Dierdre, Rory. Anyway, hello, dearest pals. Who's reading?
Okay, but then you have a V in your last name.
Oh, I
Which
do.
Yeah, we share a V too.
I do.
Okay.
Okay.
No B for me.
Sometimes when I can't sleep, my favorite thing to do is visualize what my life would be like if I could go back in time, retaining all of my current knowledge and start over. I would go back to my first day of college, age 18, fall 2001, and do everything differently. I would not get married at 19. So stupid. I would study a different major, have a little more fun, and invest in Google and Apple. LOL. If you all could, what starting point would you pick to go back in time and start over? Also, I wonder if one thing had been different about myself. If it would have had any impact on the trajectory of my life.
Yes.
For example,
Back to the Future.
what if I had been born with a different eye color? Would I still be the same person with that one small modification?
Very interesting.
Thanks for all you do. Love you all. Bdubs.
Bdubs.
Bing bong, bing bong, bing bing bing. Deirdre, you have 30 minutes to answer this question.
I mean, literally.
And then we
I
will
mean-
do 35.
And then we will critique your answer about your own personal experience.
It's a mock trial now. Oh my God, that's so That's so full.
I think that's-
a
There's
whole
so much to
episode.
it.
I think
Yeah.
that's miserable.
Is there a
What do you think's
specific?
miserable?
Oh, you think it's miserable?
If you go back, there's a difference in going back and knowing everything you know now, or saying if I went back and did it differently. Going back and knowing everything you know now is going to make you keep feeling like you have to keep it. How do I get it onto that
But keep
course?
in
'Cause I
mind-
know.
Disagree.
And I think you'd be
Disagree.
fighting that the whole
Hardcore
time.
disagree with you.
Hardcore disagree.
I
Not
mean,
even a hard
legit-
disagree.
Literally?
No, you said
Oh, you're
hardcore
just-
disagree.
you're
But you
just
know the whole
backing
thing,
me
like
up.
live
Go
and
ahead,
lost in love. People are like, well, if I go back and know everything now, I wouldn't date that person. I wouldn't see them.
But
And
it won't
obviously
be the
sometimes
same.
Definitely don't date those people. But on other times, if you're avoiding heartbreak, you're also avoiding the things that are going to shape you.
Yeah.
One
Because
small
you're
decision
afraid of
change.
getting pain again, and then you don't know where you put yourself. And you keep. There's a book called Dark Matter where a guy's hitting multiverses.
that book.
Yes, and he
Me-
keeps
oh, me
trying to
too.
get back. Right? He's like, well, I know how this is supposed to go, so I just got to get back. And in that process, he's fucking it up.
But I think there are different types of
love this.
people. I think some people. Oh,
Friday
sorry,
watch
sorry,
just
Just
having a
Rory.
real
moment.
quick,
Yeah,
I
no.
want to put out there, if you do go back and you pick a certain time and you do change one thing, there is a chance that one choice will now negate getting the knowledge
So
of the
you don't
future.
wanna
because
know-
those things might not happen
That's the
now.
problem with
I
knowing
don't think
everything.
there's a chance. I think 100%. It's like a butterfly flaps its
Yes.
wings in China.
The only thing
Great
you
movie.
retain, the only
Original
thing,
title Butterfly Effect, but Butterfly Flaps its wings in China was.
So what
was
I
just
think
as good.
what I think that makes it fun, because this is a fun fantasy. It is fun to think
love a
about
good
this.
FF.
But if you do go back, if you go back, the thing that you are retaining is not the specific knowledge of like where should I spend my money, investments, all these things. What you are retaining is that you have been given the opportunity to go back, so you then will live in this different space of decision making because you now know. Oh, I went back in time.
If we
so here I am.
Want to go one level deeper?
Yes.
Want to go one level deeper?
Westworld.
If we're talking about the actual rules of a multiverse,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well, then wouldn't you have always gone back in
Yeah,
time?
it's all already
Oh
happened.
my
and it already has all happened. So the
Deirdre.
knowledge you are currently retaining
Folks,
is
that's
that
going to be Deirdre's time with us.
You told me I had 30 minutes to talk
Well,
about multiverses.
You lost it because you already went back and you forgot that you already answered this.
I yield Deirdre's time. I yield it. I yield
No,
it.
but I think there's two types of people. I think there's the person who's like, I have to get my life back on track to get to where I am. But then there's also the person who's like, I want to make different choices. But
See
I
a different
think,
life.
But I think the instant you do start making different choices, then it's a domino
You don't
effect.
know
Then-
everything anymore.
Right now, something
That's
you
what I'm saying.
don't date that, don't marry that person at 19. Well,
Obviously.
then maybe you end up in a totally different relationship, or you move
You
to
100%
Bhutan, or
would.
you do a whole other
Can I
life.
give what some would maybe consider the most male answer? I would have sex sooner and way more.
Why? Well, you waited.
I waited,
Yeah.
but I didn't have a lot of I'm not someone who slept with a lot of people.
'Cause you
I
waited.
would go back and I would be like, let's lose our virginity sooner and let's have some fun. I think I looked at every hookup and stuff as like, oh, there's gonna be a commitment. We're committed to each other.
Yes.
I would have gone back and been like, this is
But
tonight.
you would have
This
been.
is just tonight.
No way.
Little Bob
no
Seger.
way. You would have been such a different person because of the way you approach relationships. If you looked at a physical connection with a person as meaningful that shaped who you are. If you started having random, meaningless
gotta get
physical
rid of that.
connections, then that joke at the beginning of your act, I'm going to cheat on my wife tonight, would not be such a joke.
But no,
It's
but
true.
the full version of that joke, if I could go back in time, I would cheat.
Sorry.
Yeah. The
But-
B-sides of that bit. There's more to it.
It's such a hard letter because I think there's so much in it. It's too hard to.
But the thing I get hung up on is the know everything, because I agree with you. It's more specific. I wish I could go back and not get married at 19. Okay, cool. Then let's see what that life would
That
be
happens,
like.
yeah.
Versus like, I wish I could know everything I know now. Well, that becomes irrelevant once you deviate
From the
one
path.
step off of that path.
And the person
Yeah.
says, I would do everything differently. Like,
But when I hear that, don't you think like, you aren't dead? Go do it all. The only thing like stopping you from trying some other thing is trying some other thing. I'm not saying it's easy, but if it matters so much to you that you at this point in your life, whether it's 40, 55, 65, 25, whatever it is, if it's already, I would change everything about what I did. Well, then change everything right now. And not right. And I know that's sort of a flippant way of putting it, but put those things in process to go, I don't want to live in this city.
Well, then-
I want to have a different relationship with people. I want to have better relationships with people. I don't want to have any relationship with some person. I want to do something else
but then
with my
to take
life.
that into the letter, then maybe if this particular person would have done so much differently, if they went back, maybe I'm sorry, Bdubs, but maybe they wouldn't have the courage to do those things differently than if presented with the choice to. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you could do it now. You could live the life you want now.
Well,
This is so loaded. It's
interesting-
so complex.
Well, the interesting mental conundrum, and maybe this is what you're sort of saying, is that like to sit here now and go, oh, to take who I am now, I wish I could go back as this person and live that life starting then. You sometimes do forget that you arrived at the person that you wish you could go back to, because you can't just be
Experience.
that. You have to become that, and now you've become it. And so the wish is just kind of like, oh, I like who I am now. I kind of wish I could be. The real wish is, I wish I could be who I am today, just back then, because it would be fun to see what would my life be like. For instance, if you were like, man, I wish I could go back in time and know everything I know now. Why not pick 3 years old and immediately be a doctor by 7 years old? Do you know what I mean? Like, why not immediately start a business at 5 and be like, this kid's a wonder kid? Which makes you wonder, when you do see wonder kids, is that what happened?
travel.
You know what I
It
mean?
is, yeah.
Is that what they did?
But by the way, this person also asked us, which I think might be an answerable question. If you all could, what starting point would you pick to go back in time and start over? Like, is there a point in
I think,
time
but
that
see,
you...
again, that's for me, that's just the sliding doors. What's the earliest
Is
that I
there-
would go back to and
I have a great
choose a
example.
different sliding
Is
door?
there a point in time that you would pick that go, you know what, this was an altering decision on my life?
Yes, that's what I'm saying,
And I
too.
would change. Well, so there's none for you. You would not change anything.
No, they're 100%.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm like, maybe
yeah.
we can answer that. That
Oh,
would be
Daniel
an interesting...
has regret. New
Regrets.
regret every day.
He's like, I have regrets
Every
sitting next
day.
to
Every
you
single
right
day
now.
is a new
Every day.
regret.
I regret being
That's
in
why
this
his
room.
memoir is going to be the best. He's going to have the best memoir.
The best.
We talk about it all the time. Who's going to have the best memoir? But something to consider is, like, let's say, for example, like me, if I said, oh, man, I wish I could go back to being 14. And if I went back, I would really commit what I now know about what it takes to be a professional soccer player, and I would really do it. But the reality is, I did have the opportunity to pursue that knowledge then, and I didn't do it. So you do go, oh, I could go back. It isn't like, oh, I'm going to go back, and I think it's an interpretation issue. You're not wishing to go back because you want to necessarily fix things because you don't like where you ended up. Because the reality is, you didn't fix things and you didn't do things. And in a lifetime, you can only end up where you're going to end up. And you will never know if that's just, if you've done this, there's a chance we have sat here interviewing you 50,000 times throughout the cycle of life. We don't even know what this experience
Oh,
is.
it's countless
So-
the amount of times we've done this.
So there is a world where sometimes you go back in time, or there's a world where sometimes you go back in time. But if you really could have the opportunity, you really can only just have the opportunity to go, despite all the knowledge I have, I just get to be, your wish has to be, I want to go back to being 14 and I want to be fully aware that I've been given the opportunity to go back to 14. It isn't suddenly going, oh, I'll invest in Apple or all these other things. It's literally just, oh, if I go back to 14, for instance, me, I would maybe pay more attention to my relationships with like family and go, oh, some that kind of got off the rails here. I now see what I could have done to contribute to more communication with, family or friendships that kind of fell to the wayside that I look at going, oh, I didn't really put in my share of the effort either. I think, in improv, the mental projection is that you are walking backwards, looking at your footsteps as you go. That's what informs you in improv, because improv, you just have to keep walking, but you shouldn't be facing forward, because only the information as what's been said is all you have as you are walking forward. And then sometimes in life, you have to turn around and go, you can't be looking back. Life is about walking forward and going, yeah, sure, I remember the past, but I can't build my future off of what has been said. And I've never forgotten that. Good improv, it's because they're walking backwards, looking at their footprints, going, okay, I know this, that's my name, this is my job. Okay, so Daniel said that, so this. But if I turn around, it means I'm not paying attention to anything Daniel's established so that we can build a story together.
You just blew, I am the blown mind emoji right now. You just blew my actual mind.
Well, this is not, I can't take credit for this thing. I just passed it
I
on
feel
to
so
you.
informed.
I said it.
But Daniel told me like literally, and Daniel told me all that literally right before you got here.
I believe
Was it
that.
somebody in DC?
That's amazing.
Yes. Learning it, just doing long form improv. It what helps you remember long form improv. Like if we walk into an establishment and you say, "Hey, Rick," it's like, well, I got to remember I'm Rick, so I'm Rick, and he knows me, and that's what I know. That's all I know. But in life, it's like you want to walk forward going, we don't know each other,
But I also
and we're
think-
gonna know each
I
other.
was-
So let's just keep facing forward together.
I also think this though about too in the letter where they say,
I'm just kidding. I did make all that up just now.
where they say like I would invest in Google and Apple. I feel like that's like a common trope of like I would get rich.
I think
right?
that's why the LOL is
and
there.
and yeah, of course. But the thing to think about that is even that where somebody goes, even if I could go back in time and just tell myself this one thing, whether it is like invest in Google or it's like don't get on that train, to go somewhere else, or don't get out of this relationship, or don't go to that college, go to this city, go whatever, do a gap year, whatever it is I thought about this recently in Back to the Future 2. Biff goes back and just tells himself, take this, bet on this, you're gonna be rich.
Bet
right?
on everything in this book. Yes.
Something to consider about that is which version of Biff seems happiest? The one where he's had all the money that he's ever wanted, or the one where he's waxing a car, being like, hey man, I got it good for you. It's all and you'd think, go make yourself rich. But which Biff seems happiest?
Oh my God, you guys, this is very good.
But also, and this
It
is fun to
is.
think about.
That's like beautiful. That's a
Right?
very beautiful.
The one waxing a car, like being like, hey, I did my bet, or the rich fucking asshole.
Did we talk
Mo
about
money, mo problems.
Did we talk about this on the show of the Biff waxing the car?
Yes.
And the meme?
No.
Well, I just watched it with Elliot. I was like, this is one of my favorite movies, and we're gonna watch it. And so I was telling them we're watching it all, and Marty just went back in time, and the pizza arrived, and I was like, great stopping point. We'll pause it. We'll go get pizza. We'll come back. We'll start the movie again. And as we're walking back, I'm like, you like the movie? She's like, not really. And I go, well, it's about to get more fun. I go, everything that's happening now is all the setup for everything you're now about to like see. And we're watching the movie, and I could tell she is like getting into it. You could tell because she's not like eating her food. She's kind of like watching it. So she's invested. And then we get to the scene where Biff has to pull, George McFly out of the car, but he pulls Marty out, and then he gets in. They take Marty off, and then George McFly pulls up, and Jordan is texting me. She goes, how do we talk about this with her? And I go, talk about what? And Jordan's like, the rape scene. And I'm sitting there going,
yeah.
oh yeah, I mean, I
That
guess
didn't register in the 80s.
well, as a kid, you are just sitting there going like, well, what are they doing? There's no part of you that's like, oh, they're kissing, it's rape, it's sexual. You kind of don't really know. You're like,
She just
oh,
doesn't
he's
like him.
He's
We just
bullying.
did it as like, get out of here.
The
Get
bullying
fuck
way
away
of
from me.
the way a bully bothers someone.
Yeah.
She's being bothered by a bully. You're not thinking like why or any of the context. And so I read that and I was like, oh, that's a great point. And then
Let's pause it here.
I immediately kind of start laughing because I then remember like a meme of like George McFly and Lorraine in this new better future watching Biff like wax the car. And the meme was like, who should we get to help us out around the house? How about the guy who tried to rape you in high school?
Oh my God.
And Lorraine is just like, yeah, that's who I would like around the kids.
That's who I like around the kids. But I don't want to jump into a whole other topic, but it's such an interesting point
Welcome to
about.
the show.
Well, I
Yeah,
just
you're
feel bad.
safe
I'm like,
place.
I'm trying
No,
to
safe
like.
place.
Honestly, you
Safe
should
place.
be on your 9th topic by now.
Yeah.
Well, but it's a really interesting thing when you go back and watch movies we liked as kids that you're like, oh, that is so wrong. And this generation is so clicked into every social talking point, to every social, I don't know how to even say it, milieu. That's not the right word, but like.
Well,
But
don't
to the
use
point
words
where
we don't know.
but to the point where so much went over our heads, or like we were like,
Yeah.
oh, well, that's just a guy being inappropriate with a girl. Like we just kind of went, well,
Yeah.
oh, he's the bad guy,
Oh,
and it just went like
exactly.
that.
I
And
just
now,
rewatched Groundhog Day, and I was like, "Geez, Phil, like, chill the fuck out,
some
man."
of it, right? You're like,
He's just straight up like just sexually harassing Andy
all the
McDowell.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time, and they end up together. Spoiler alert.
way to ruin a movie 30 years
And a
down the road.
musical.
Well, because he
And
found
the
out
Carlton.
how to go back in time over and over again and really fix himself.
And then fix himself, learn
Yeah.
piano.
Manipulate her.
But it's
Did you ever
it
read
is
that
very
like the
interesting.
depressing dark side of that story supposedly is that he's on like year 1000 and it's like
Oh,
real
more,
dark.
more, yeah, 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 yeah,
The same day over and over for thousands of years.
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, anyway.
Wait, what about the characteristic? I think being right-handed or left-hand completely changes you.
Sure.
Like your life
More
experience.
artistic.
Of course.
Better drawer.
But
Also
but
learning-
I also think just like you say it,
Learning how to write.
learning how to write, and then also like wear your notebook. Like I've got all these indents.
Are you
in my
left?
hand.
You're left-handed.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me throw this out there.
My dad thinks he started left-handed, and that when they were teaching him how to write, they forced him to learn.
He went back in time.
because it was smudging the paper.
'Cause he
My
went
dad's
back in
like, I'm
time.
pretty sure I was left-handed when I was.
Oh,
little
right.
kid."
Because he was writing left to right. Yeah, it's interesting.
So all the
His-
other kids
this
were
would
like,
be
and
hitting
he
it.
was like really struggling with.
Off the
And
top
they
of your
used
head.
to put when for babies, sorry.
No,
They
go
would when you start grabbing for things,
Yes.
they would purposely start putting things if kids were favoring the
Yes.
left hand towards the right to
do they
make them
care?
start favoring the right hand.
And that's because God got it wrong. Because God was wrong.
Right. And it was, but
And
it was.
I've always thought
Thanks
that.
a lot, Bdubs.
But it was a
I've
lot
always
of that.
thought that.
It was a lot of that. Well, they'll have. You want your child to have an easier life, so
that
let's just
bizarre?
curtail
Just
this.
everyone should be right-handed.
Yeah.
And everyone should be.
What
and
about
that's
being a switch hitter? Does
and
that not
that's why
help
the-
make millions?
the generation before us, though. They're also fixated on there is a right way to do things
And a left
wrong
way.
and the left way.
And a left way.
And that's why
And
so
I
many of
mean
them are
liberals.
Republicans.
And that's why he's wearing red. And you're wearing pink. You're like, I'm kind of conservative.
You're a
and
girl.
and I'm
You're
a
a
mechanic.
girl Republican.
I'm a girl Republican.
I'm a
That's
girl
hey,
Republican.
That's our clip.
great-
That's the clip.
I'm a girl Republican.
That's the
That,
clip.
like it's like so cute
I'm
that
gonna
you're
totally
almost
tell
like,
everyone that's
"No,
AI. You guys AI'd me.
I'm a different type of Republican.
My AR-15 has pink bullets.
That's gonna go in it too.
You're going back in time with all the knowledge you currently have. I don't get no reasoning. What age are you going to?
18.
What age are you going to?
Oh, 10.
Why?
Hey, you said no reasoning.
You're not the guest, Daniel. Also, this keeps me from having to answer.
What you go first, and I'll tell you what
Why did I
reason.
say that?
What age?
foiled by my own.
I think
Petard.
I want to say 14, specifically because I would go back in time with the knowledge I know now to not get so comparative about where I am at in puberty. To go, hey, chill, it doesn't,
That doesn't-
fucking matter.
Rory, that wouldn't
And
matter.
that one piece of advice, I think, would change how I approached social settings and my life. because instead I lived as we all do.
Rory, you're gonna
different
do this
parts
with your
of our
own
life.
child. You're gonna be like, it's all okay, and that is not gonna matter.
Yeah, I think
your
it would-
emotions and your hormones.
It would require.
But at
So
14,
So that's
But
what I would-
so that premise works.
Yes.
Assuming that your 14-year-old
He's
self
gonna listen to you.
will be introspective
But
enough
won't
to go,
you
oh, I hear what
be
you're
the
saying.
14-year-old
and
self?
that your hormones
you will
aren't
be
going.
them.
Yeah, totally.
You're not going back to
point.
tell yourself. You're going back to be that.
Right.
But your
so-
hormones are going to be.
Oh no, but I'm saying, but we're,
If at
we're
14
but we're
you
in
knew
the
that-
guise of saying
Yes.
you're retaining the knowledge of what you know
Totally.
now.
But
So
you-
I'm saying, I think if you take me back and I started
you would
14 years
knowledge-
old,
you would have the self-awareness, is what you're saying.
But I
yeah,
think
you would have it because that's what you're doing is going back with.
what you're saying is a great point about doing it with your own child, that they can impart the knowledge, because I think about all the time.
well, that's reality.
But my niece is 9, right? And
Brag.
it's like
Brag. Thank you.
humble brag. And
even
one of my
humble.
nieces is 9 and one of my nieces is 5, and they're both
Bigger
wonderful.
brag.
And
You got a
but
little Dolly Parton.
but like,
action,
they're
9 to
getting
5.
into the social stuff where it's like, not
Yeah.
it's not always easy, and kids now go, that's weird, or you're doing that,
Yeah,
blah blah blah.
You're wrong. Yeah.
Or weird is the bad one now,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
where it's very
Yeah,
like,
you're
I'm
weird.
different, you're weird, we are all doing this. And,
Yeah.
and sometimes she'll call me, which is like my favorite. She's learned how to FaceTime me from her iPad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, tell your aunt, and I'm like, they're idiots. And I'm trying to say, God, because I had a miserable middle school experience.
Yes.
Like, I can't even tell you. I mean,
Now we're getting into this 10-year-old.
but that's why I would have gone to that age, because I would be like, because I would go into middle school trying to go, these people don't matter, or this is not the
Take a deep
overall
breath.
impact in the life.
Yes.
But
That's what I mean.
I try to do it with my niece, and to your point, I think sometimes it's retained, but sometimes you can't be there on the every minute, and nor should you.
and also,
because
you can't
that-
see their version of it.
That person has to have her own or
Yeah.
his own individual experience of how they navigate
Yes.
socialness, right?
Yes,
Like
yes.
my miserable experience, I firmly believe, is what made me funny. Then I'm like, well,
Yes.
waka
How do I
waka.
survive?
I'll-
How do I survive?
Yeah,
Yes.
like turn it around, and I'm funny, and then okay, now that's Teflon for me, and then
Yes.
Big time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's why I would go to 10. Why
Why?
14?
Why 18? You
Oh,
said
18
18?
was 18
Was
for
18?
you. Yeah.
Oh, I just wouldn't have gone to college. I just would have moved straight to New York.
Smart. So smart. And you wouldn't have invested in Apple.
What is that?
So stupid.
What even
so
is
stupid. He's like so
Apple?
stupid. He's not good with money. He's just not. He's not good with time travel money.
You're the worst with time travel
Yeah.
money.
I always think about what happens to the people that didn't get those stocks then. If I go back and buy Apple, what happens to the people
Who would have
who
bought your
didn't?
shares?
And then their dad got cancer and now they can't afford to pay.
That's
Whoa,
interesting. That's interesting that you immediately
that
go
was such
to.
that was such a deep story into the person who didn't.
If I
get-
take those stocks away from somebody who did buy them,
You
what
chose a
happens to that
dramatic one.
person's life?
Yeah. What if they're assholes though?
Sure, that
So
would
there
make you
go.
feel better.
That yeah, it does make me.
Listen,
feel
But
you
an
would be-
asshole still
It does make
pays
me
for their
feel
daughter's chemo.
if they need it,
some.
you
No,
know.
big the asshole. Yeah,
But they might
fair.
not have a daughter.
Sure, but they
have to
die,
always-
and then
This letter took us really to like.
but then they die, and that asshole still
Hey,
leaves that money to their
This
kids.
is classic 18-year-old Daniel. Oh, let me
I
make it
wish.
dramatic.
I wish.
I really want to make this different choice, but somebody might have cancer.
This is classic
deep.
time travel Daniel.
I mean, something happens to the people who didn't buy those stocks.
Yes.
Well, that's why any decision you make that's different, that changes it. The butterfly flaps and swings in China, or
Mhm,
Ashton Kutcher's
Eh.
seminal classic, The Butterfly Effect. But it would affect other people's lives.
Rory was the guy in the locker room after the game whose uniform is pristine.
Still holding the 6 water
And high
bottles.
five it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
6 water
You guys
bottles.
did a great
Oh,
job.
I brought my own goggles.
We did it. We did it. And everyone stops. Like the record scratches. Somehow there's a record in there.
And then that guy too, you was like, you can't start it
The
yourself,
slow-
Rory.
Okay. B-Dub. Who read this?
I
You
did.
read it. No, you threw it on the ground. If you could go back in time, would you have done that? That's
Oh
the
my
only
god!
tweak.
I would love to do improv with you, and I would hate it too.
It's
I've
pretty fun.
enjoyed doing
I
improv
talk a
with you
lot.
in in
It's a
controlled
lot
settings,
of it's a lot of him being like, "Oh, thanks for Rory," and then they're like, "Okay," and then you drive while he pretends to be on a phone call the whole
There's
time.
a lot of me looking at you going, if you want in, you just got to
Gotta
jam
jump
your
in.
way in. I cannot.
I've done improv with you in controlled settings where it's
Yes.
been a couple of lines and I can.
Yeah.
But one scene we did was the end of season 2, one of the last scenes, and I come over and I go, "Can I help you, Danny?" And he just turns to me during the take and goes, "Yeah, gin and tonic." And I was like, "Fuck you!" I just completely broke because I was like, I can't respond to that. I can't walk away. I can't
I
it was
know.
just like boop. Anyway, my lines, and I was like,
one time Rory was like,
"Damn."
he was like, "I have a gun here," and I was like, "Good thing we're in a gun shop." I had to go higher. Okay,
And I then went, no, we're not.
and this is a stick up. No, we're not. You have
The
you have
word-
dementia, and this is
Yeah.
a stick up.
No, we're not. We're actually at a park. Like just aggressive.
Made out of guns, and this is the day you die.
This is a gun park. It's not even realistic locations.
"No, we're not. You have dementia."
We're in an amusement park made out of guns.
Welcome to Gun World.
Anyways, welcome to Gun World. Where's your ticket?
Where the
Like,
tickets are guns.
Dino's having to make wild shifts. Like, oh, sorry. I go. Right, yeah. Yes, I am.
Popcorn. You're out of popcorn.
It's a
I'm
popcorn.
out of popcorn. You're out of popcorn.
Okay.
That's ridiculous.
The three of us should just do this at Sketchfest.
I'll tell you what. First off, that's Sketchfest, and second off, that's the second clip. If we need a second clip, it's
sure.
just us building Gun World.
Gun World.
No context.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for all that you do, B-Dub. We wish you well. Sincerely, your pen pals, Daniel Van Kirk.
Rory Van Scovel.
Dierdre Friel.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Plugs and hogs. I have some shows coming up. I'm going to be in Charleston, South Carolina for the last tour, and then I'm going to be in Greenville, South Carolina for the final show of the last tour. But a week before that, maybe not a full week, but on the 21st of January,
There we go. Shared
Daniel
plug
Van
and
Kirk and Rory Scovel are going to be doing a live Pen Pals in San Francisco at Sketchfest at Cobb's Comedy Club. If you want tickets, I'm sure you can go to sketchfest.com.
Yep.
You can go to royscovel.com.
Yep.
You can go to danielvankirk.com. You can go to our Instagrams where there's a bio link, and that takes you to all our different things. However you get your tickets, we don't give a fuck. Just go get tickets and spread the word. January 21st. That's all I got.
I love it. I would love if
Wow.
some people grew the shoe by telling people who have never listened to this, just go to the live show.
Just go to the live show.
See what that's
Just
like.
see it.
Yeah.
Feel it.
That it?
That's it for me.
Okay. DanielVanKirk.com because we're doing Sketchfest, and then just announcing, although hopefully it'll be up by the time this drops, I'll be in Des Moines doing a show in Des Moines on like the Saturday the 2nd, and I think the night before on the 1st I am doing Cedar Rapids.
Yes.
It's just going to be like a local thing. I'm going to come back there. I'm going to work out some new material. I'm in the area. So I said, hey, they reached out and said, would you come back here, please? I said, yeah, I'll do it. And then there's other stuff too. Oh, I'm going to be in D.C. I'm doing D.C. the first weekend in March.
First weekend of March.
And something else as well. I don't remember.
also
But
something
everything's... Oh, you can watch Wine Club right now. That just came up a couple weeks ago. It dropped on December 15th. If you are interested, there's a possibility you go to the screening, go to Wine Club Movie and see me in my first feature film. It's a really fun movie. And I think that's it.
That's it. Deirdre?
I would like to plug that the SAG strike is over.
It's over.
I did a short film with like Ken Marino and Kate Flannery and some other cool people that was in Sundance called Help Me
Yeah.
Understand. which
Help
I'm-
me understand.
Really, really, really good, funny, cool short film directed by Amelia Scott. But I actually, this is going to be so corny. I actually would like to plug 2 charities that I work
Yes.
with.
Great.
That's all the time.
Alzheimer's Awareness, please, and Autism Speaks. I think
Nice.
that those are both very worthwhile things to
agree.
get involved with.
Did you hear right when you said I have 2 charities? Daniel goes, well, that's all the time we have. He cuts it off. No one gets to hear it.
Rory, before we get in the letter, I want to do something from the
What?
last
Hold
letter.
on. There's one other thing. Because now the SAG strike is over, go watch season 3, the final
Physical,
season of
yes.
Physical.
Oh, gosh, yes.
I know. I forget all the
Streaming on
time
Apple.
because it's come and gone.
Because
but
it literally came during the entire
in
strike.
case you don't know, because
It was
you
so
rely
good.
on these plugs to get all of your information, season 3 of Physical.
You are
is
both great.
out.
Thank
you.
You get to watch Rory.
So were you. You were in it
Oh,
too.
that was season 2. But yes.
And
You get to watch Rory run. You get to watch your character say, you know what? A lot.
I do
which-
say, do I say that?
It's a lot of there's a lot of agency of your character's
Oh,
development over
yes,
time, and
yes.
I really loved watching
Yes.
it.
Thanks.
I loved it a lot.
I'm truly extremely proud of that show. And
It's great.
the
It is great.
project that of all the stuff I've done, not that like, but like of the stuff I've done, especially when women stop me to talk about that project, it has meant a
It's
lot
the best.
to them and
the
a lot
best.
to a lot of people. So
Same.
I'm really proud of it.
I love it so much.
Rory, really quick, because I don't know either. It's been eating at me since the first letter. How do you spell milieu?
MILL. Oh,
MILL.
L. Well, we wouldn't have gotten the
And
second
then I go
L.
so basic. Why?
We wouldn't have gotten the second L.
milieu. No, it's is
I know this is where it was going to trip
Is
us up.
it
Just so you know, I would have
is it
never gotten.
MILLE? U E?
I think it's. Oh, it might be EUE. I thought it was EUX.
I don't. I mean, look.
No, an X. I would have gone MIL. Thanks to you, second L. IEU.
Oh, that might be right.
That was my
Now
best
now
guess.
Now
That's my
Lissa, are you
best
looking
guess.
it up?
That's my best guess.
Yeah,
But she can't
because
spell
I
it to
don't-
figure out how to look it up.
Well, you know it's 2 L's. MILL.
Is that a catch-22?
the book?
MILLIE.
If she was like, "Can you look up milieu? I want to know how to spell it." She's
I
like, "Well, I don't know how to spell it, so how can I look it up?"
IEU is right. Milieu. I think milieu.
That's my best
I think that's
guess. Milieu?
Favorite actress.
I knew that neither one of us
Haley
knew how
Milieu.
to spell it.
Haley Milieu.
Shall we do
My
it?
favorite 2 actresses.
My favorite 2 actresses, both
Haley
Haley
Milieu.
I love
Milieu.
that movie.
Haley Milas.
Plural is an X.
Milwees.
Mil-
Let's go to the letter. That's right here. It's tiny. It's got Lissa's name on it.
Oh.
Little, yellow, different. New print.
Oh my God, I remember that.
You're right, and it's the taste of a new generation.
It is. Tiny little card. Love it here.
Okay.
Thanks for making life brighter. Pass
Oh my God.
that down to Daniel.
That's really sweet. It matches your shirt, Republican.
Girl Republican, boy Republican.
I'm a girl.
The guy who fixes their cars when they break.
I got a carburetor.
I'm the guy
But this carburetor's made of guns.
My carburetor's made of guns, and it's more fun. It's louder.
boy.
Dear Lissa,
I don't even know why we're doing this.
This
My
is very
God.
cool.
it's not.
Oh.
Or you'd say that because you're a girl Republican. Which, wait, maybe you should be more against it. Guys, get it? Deep cut? Girl Republicans, not supportive of women? Right?
Right, right.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Right?
Totally.
So milieu.
Mill us.
Oh my God. Us. Mill
Haley
us.
Mills us.
It's Mill us.
Dear Lissa, whoever that even is, I occasionally notice upon meeting women for the first time that they go out of their way to mention their boyfriend or husband as early in the conversation as possible, even if it doesn't really fit into the conversation casually. Just yesterday, I mentioned going to Buc-ee's at a group lunch, and someone said they and their husband haven't been to one before. Not the best example, just most
I
recent.
think that's a great example.
Yeah, I think so too. Is this a code to be like, look, don't even try to hit on me? What are some other codes or innuendo that men may not know about? Thanks, Casey.
Do we leave?
I think now we get a timeout.
Lissa, come over here.
Well, I have to ask, do you think there's truth to that?
Yes.
Okay, because maybe
Right?
100%.
maybe I just don't notice it because
Women do that with men.
Maybe that's a man thing. You don't
Women
know.
do
Do
that
you want me
with-
to be very?
Well,
you
I
want me
think-
to say my immediate first
Yes, yes,
reaction?
Yes.
I don't want to alienate Casey because Casey is a very gender neutral name.
Women do it with
Casey's
men they
not
don't
even
want to cheat
here.
with.
Women do it with people
Like-
that they are. I think you want to
Turned off by.
immediately put the boundary up.
Right,
So
but if you're willing to cheat,
Oh.
you don't mention that shit at all.
But I think, to piggyback off that, I know. Sorry, Alyssa, because I know this was for you, but I think to piggyback off that, also, women get a lot of flack for. Did you mention your partner early enough? Not early enough. So there's also like the I am a good person. I have a partner. I'm putting it up front.
100%. So there's
there's
a lot
morality.
of criticism I have experienced. I'm sure you have experienced where I have been criticized because by men for not having told them soon enough that
That you
I
have
was
a boyfriend.
unavailable.
Get the fuck
Yes.
out of here.
Yes.
Yes, and so
I just fuck these dudes.
So I was
that are like,
giving
I was
off-
entitled
That's
into
exactly
this.
right.
I was entitled to this until if you don't fucking say it,
Yes.
that's on you.
But
Why?
that's-
Why did you even
that it
come to
was-
this Olive
It was
Garden?
my fault that someone made an unwanted pass
Fuck
at me
that,
because
dude.
I didn't do a good enough job letting him know that I was
is
unavailable.
very interesting.
But it's
And I hope your response
totally
is,
same
oh,
thing
do you want me to
was
tell you everything I think about you? Because I could have done that 30 seconds in to look the
That
that's the
sounded
same thing
like
I
a
was
Shania
saying.
Twain song for like a second.
saying.
You want to tell me everything?
about you.
We own that. We own the collectively.
We
We own
should
it.
be in a group, and I think a lot of people agree.
30 seconds ago. Sorry, listen.
Deirdre, you also touched
That
on
would be
something.
the name of our group, Shania.
You also touched on something that I think is so interesting, which is that, like, if you would possibly, if you're in a relationship and you might find yourself, like, attracted to a person in a group too, or you can tell that something is going on there.
Little
Let's
chemistry.
put that up immediately so that there isn't even any room for like
That's
innocent
responsible, but
flirtation
that's a different
or whatever.
context, too.
Completely different context, but something else that
I
crossed
think
my
it's
mind.
all time and place. Like when maybe that level of communication is polite or necessary. I would say in that other example, it's kind of absurd for someone to be like, I don't know everything about you, and you needed to tell me so that I don't make a
But-
mistake. It's so very insecure.
To back Lisa up,
gross.
though, when you, sorry, gentlemen, but when you walk through this world as a woman,
Yeah.
you would be shocked
We know.
at how dudes respond to feeling like, how dare you let me hit on you?
Oh.
Yeah. You're
I
a
wouldn't be
bitch.
shocked by anything.
I'm not
But I'm-
shocked by
so
that
I'm-
at all.
So I'm like saying, like, there's also a certain level of like protection, like where you're like,
Of course.
I don't even know in the next 30 seconds how this person.
But you know what? I read a tweet, and I would like to act like, oh, I was already doing this before, but I do feel like I felt this way. It's just this person really crystallized it. It was a tweet that it was a few years ago. I think it was during like we kind of like had a second resurgence of Me Too, I feel like in 2020, 2019. And somebody was like, men don't know the power they have if they looked at one of their friends and just said, hey, dude, that's pretty fucked up.
Oh my God,
And and
that is really accurate.
Yeah.
That is really accurate.
And am always willing to like take that opportunity because it either signifies that maybe you and that guy shouldn't be friends if you can't tell him that was pretty fucked up. And I think it does make men do that a lot. Like shit like that just annoys the fuck out of me when it's like, well, why would you? Because I fucking wanted to, and now I don't want to. Or because you seemed cool, and now I felt like I should probably give you this information. Like, fuck off. And I am nowhere near like a perfect person, but that shit drives me
You are very close.
fucking insane. That's
but
very nice.
And
of you.
also, being a big dude yourself, you have agency to do that in a way that, like, I'm not like the tiniest person, but I'm 5'4", and I've never ever walked through a parking lot to my car without like checking my surroundings and having keys in my hand.
Of course.
So you don't know if you even pissed this dude off by telling him you have a boyfriend.
Yeah,
and
and
it's
how
not gonna-
fucking
And he's
crazy
a
is this dude?
psychopath.
just saying.
But the
like,
reason I say that letter was a great example is it is everyone has the right to share whatever they need to make themselves comfortable or not share things to keep themselves comfortable. But it is more natural to go, my husband and I were at a Buc-ee's a week ago, right? Because you're giving context for a story. It does ding me. I would go, oh, you needed me to know. If you go, my husband and I have never been to a Buc-ee's. It's like,
I got
well,
you.
what the? That's why that is a really good example because it needed no context for what you were
what was
trying to
coming
say.
after it.
Yes.
Well, I will.
But also, if you felt the need to share, I would, as a male, I would think to myself like, oh, I did they think I was hitting on that? Like, but I wouldn't call it out or have problem. Like, you felt the need to share that?
I
That's
think
fine.
there
Well, I
are-
think that there is also
Sorry.
a weird, like, sort of, like, let's go off this specific example with Buc-ee's. Like, oh, my husband and I have never been to a Buc-ee's. Like, if someone said, like, oh, I've never been to a Buc-ee's, like, I don't know. I guess there's little tiny variables in there. For instance, if someone said, oh, yeah, I just went to a Buc-ee's for the first time a week ago. And then maybe they were like, oh, yeah, well, I was with my husband. Is there a world where someone interprets that and go, oh, is something going on? Is it not good? Like, why didn't you mention the husband? Even though that makes no reason. There's no reason to mention the husband. But I say this as like sort of devil's advocate to the person who's talking. Are they trying to head off, oh, I don't want you to get the impression that I don't mention my husband because we're having some sort of problem. You know what I mean? Like,
Maybe.
I'll sometimes do that with Jordan. Like, you could play back many stories I've told where they're like, yeah, I don't think we needed to know that your wife also doesn't like the restaurant. Or
yeah,
you know
I
what
think that's totally a totally
Yeah.
plausible option that she hadn't mentioned her husband in 2 hours during conversation and was like, oh shit, like
I should.
Oh,
I
yeah.
should. I think that's possible. I don't think it's probable. I think that she was probably doing exactly
Boundary
what
setting?
Casey thinks that
Yeah.
she
I
was
also
doing.
think it's kind of like, I think it's kind of smart.
Well,
It's
so
like we
this-
are communicating.
Oh,
Why don't I go and communicate
that I
that
have a
I'm
husband.
wearing this
But
and we're doing
There's
great?
also a world in which I think young women, young girls are also raised to be like, and then you get to a certain age and get married and you have kids.
Identity.
And it
It's your
becomes
identity.
It's your identity.
Yeah.
And so I do think there are some women that that it's like, oh, my husband and I have never done that. Oh, my
Great
husband
point.
and I were going to do that next week. Oh my, like
I know.
there's some link up of that. It's the other part of who I am.
Just to know, it
Absolutely.
does, without the fear or threat or like, how the fuck is this going to go? It does cut both ways. Like, there are times where you go, I feel like I should probably clue this woman into the fact that I have a girlfriend.
Or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
And,
Oh,
and
well, you feel a vibe.
right, 100%.
Yeah.
It's just, for us, it doesn't come with the like, oh, well, how is this reaction going to
Yeah.
be? Because I don't fucking
that's
care.
the thing.
Right, right,
Because
right.
I don't have to care.
I don't remember where I heard this, but there was something that was like, if a woman rejects a guy, she has to be worried about whether or not he's gonna murder her.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like fully
Exactly.
kill
Rape her.
her.
Yes.
Or yes, like that is the stakes are that high
Yes.
because men are so volatile in that way or so extra sensitive. Generally speaking, all of this the generalizations, but so like there is always that concern that
There's also a physical difference. There is a physical.
Yes.
Both of you guys are bigger than me.
yes.
Like both of you. So like most people I interact with are this guy up here. Most people I interact
Oh,
with
the giant
are
who lives
bigger
above
than
us?
I am.
Jesus
And I'm
Christ.
not a tiny person. I'm certainly strong by many means.
Yes.
But like so I am constantly
no,
aware.
you can
Constantly.
because you can be
You're also a black belt.
physically
You're also,
It's
you're also a
terrifying.
black belt in, what do you say, karate?
Karate.
You keep saying karate. You know,
how- that's how you
one of the
pronounce
worst
it.
experiences
I pronounce it milieu, actually.
have ever had, but it's spelled Kart. One of the worst experiences I ever had after a show was a woman that I will try to be as gracious as I can, but just based off of the experience I had, I would say was maybe categorized as unstable. She had it in her mind based off of podcasts, amount of podcasts listens to, or whatever her perceived notion of me was, and then that she came to the show and spent money and got drinks and made sure she had a good seat, that her and I were gonna like meet and at least spend a lot of time hanging out together. It became evident that she also wanted way more than that, and
Sex.
she
Go on, Daniel.
hand stuff only. And then she, at some point, because there was a bar like attached to where the venue was, and she was down at the other end, and then she, at some point, she was with two friends. They did not help the situation in terms of preventing this. She just like, for lack of a better term, like lost it. She screaming at me, you know, I thought I knew who you were, and I've listened to every episode, and you've ruined Pen Pals, and you've ruined Dumb People Town, and I won't even listen to your co-host stuff again anymore. And at one point, she was like on the floor and like screaming, and her friends were like, oh, we don't know, you know. And then she was like, you're just an asshole, and everything's fake, and I came here, and you did not give me any time, and you didn't, you know. And I stood there for they like picked her up and like got her out, and she felt so much entitlement towards what she had put into it, what was owed her from me. And I said to there was two very like chill like fans that like had kind of been next to us and had been talking to me and the other comic who was there, and I was like, oh, that whole like, do you know what I've done and why I deserve this from you? I'm like, that's like what women feel all the fucking time. The only difference is I have no fear walking to my fucking car.
That's so
Like,
right, Dan.
like
Totally.
now
So right.
she could have had a gun. Like, who knows? But you
But
know,
in general,
are
that's
in
extreme.
general,
Yeah.
I felt all of the I don't owe you shit. I have not committed to any more than whatever your fucking expectation is of me and what you've put into it. But on the other hand, I also got to be like, the fuck out of it. Like, what are you gonna do? Get the fuck out. And the option that most women have is they don't want to know the answer to what are you gonna do.
You ask somebody to walk you to your car or whatever. I mean, and it's not
Absolutely.
always like that.
When I was a door guy, multiple times, I would
Walk
walk
them into a car.
men that have left hours earlier and are now just around outside the bar.
Oh God.
Yeah, multiple. I mean, I'm not saying hundreds, but 4 times in the course of 9 years. So you're about every other year. There's a dude who's like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Hey, dude," and then all of a sudden we're holding hands, so that they're even more like, "Oh, they're like." Ugh. I've always said the most, like, the people that don't get fucked with the most is a woman with a guy and a guy with a girl, because they're like, well, he'll probably fucking fight for her, right? Because it's like that's more. Men take that as like, this is shitty. I'm going to speak toxically. She's already owned.
Yeah.
She's already been bought and sold, so that I can't take that because that, you know what I mean? It's a weird fucking.
It's a really strange interpretation. There was a story when you were at the beginning when you were like, you're like the amount of time that you need to tell a guy. Like if I was talking to a woman and she was like mentioned that she had a boyfriend or a husband early on, I think I would just merely be like, so what? You know what I mean? Like that'd be cool.
Yeah.
So no can sex together. You know what I mean?
So you mean no feelings?
So
you mean
I'm
you
sorry.
mean we don't got to worry about feelings and
So we
Christmases?
can't make a baby tonight, and that ruins
That's all
it.
right.
That's actually what ruins it.
I'm going back
I
in
was
time.
actually on board until the baby stuff.
She was like,
and
actually,
now-
I was just lying about the husband boyfriend, but now that you talk like that, I would love to make a child.
I'm like,
with
woo,
you. Wow.
whoa.
I didn't know you were gonna turn it on.
I didn't know all of a sudden you were from New York.
Anyways, let's make a baby. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, because obviously we just went to an extreme and like sort of this deep sea, like the reason behind our inclination to do that.
Yeah.
But like Casey, I mean, it's just one letter. He seems like assuming it's a man.
Male, yeah,
Casey's
could be.
a man, but that it's coming from a very respectful place that he observed this and is curious about when else it comes into play. And the majority of the time, I think, it isn't with so much fear involved. It's absolutely an FYI. I had this last night. I was at a bar and meeting a friend, and she hadn't gotten there yet. And a guy came up next to me and was chatting. And I wasn't interested in. I was there to meet my friend, so I just wasn't interested in meeting a guy in that moment. I'm not attached. It's not that there was no reason
You're just
like
like,
that.
I don't-
was here to meet my friend and wasn't really wanting to do that. And so that was one of the things that I mentioned. He asked like why I was there and what I was doing. And I said, I'm just meeting a friend. And that to me is also a version of that signal, which is like, otherwise I would have engaged in some way. But I said, I'm just here to meet a friend. That's
there you
all.
go. For the point of other women secret
And
clues.
what are the other clues? Like, I think that's also one for me.
Well, the other one, no is a full sentence.
I
Well,
think one of
sure.
the main reasons I think there's 2 reasons I never became this guy, this version of a guy, is because I have 4 sisters and was raised primarily by women.
Yeah.
But also because if I'm going to walk up and hit on you, I will have needed to receive one of these before, and it has to say on it, "I like you." And
you
then
like
I go,
me? Check yes, no,
and
maybe.
then I just sit there and I'm like, "Oh my god."
You're not far
This
off.
is
And
why,
so
by the
it
way,
begins.
This is
But
why
you're not joking.
You
I mean, you're
can't
joking,
ever-
but you're not. The signal. It has to be a landing a 7, fucking
I have
747.
never once gone up and just hit on someone ever, because if I did, I would walk up and just go, "Hey, how stupid do I look right now?" All right, let me go back.
This
to
is
my
why
opener.
also-
Let me go back
opener.
to my group of friends
You're-
and lie about what we just said.
You'll
to each other.
never be able to go back in time and just have casual sex
Oh,
with a
this
million
is why I won't be able to go back in time.
Yes, because you're
Not the
so-
time machine part.
No, not the time machine part. No. Obviously, no.
It's
You
because you
mentioned-
don't believe in yourself enough. That's why you'll never
No,
time
it's
travel.
because you're so respectful. You would never go have casual sex with people and have a great
I would
time.
love it. Are you kidding? It'd be
You'd be
great.
a different person.
But you mentioned other one like keys in hand when you're walking. There's also a thing that say men look for lit parking to make sure that their car is okay. Women look for lit parking to make sure they're okay.
Oh God.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
This is like
Well,
more.
now I will.
But you know what I'm saying? Like,
no.
yeah.
And now you're realizing how much you don't respect your
Do you
car.
want to hear? Wait, this is a slight tangent, but do you want to hear about a crazy thing that happened to me walking the dog like
Yes.
a month ago?
Yeah.
It was like 4 or 5 in the
You go. I see this hot piece of ass.
We're all like, okay.
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 And I'm like, hey, baby, I got a time machine.
oh my God.
I'm walking the dog. It's like 4 or 5 in the afternoon, like so it's super light, light out. And it's that after work dog walk where everyone's like, hey, how are you? Is your dog friendly? Oh, sniff, sniff. Nice to see you. People are walking home from work, nurses, and everyone's, hey, how are you? You're just like open and friendly.
Yeah.
Also, being a New Yorker, that is a specific shift for me, having been here now for a while, because in New York, even at 5 p.m., you're not going. You are like, nobody exists but me, and I'm walking down the street.
Yeah.
But anyway, you're like, hi, good afternoon. And so I live kind of near like a main drag. And so this guy starts walking towards me, youngish guy, and he's got his phone out. He's like, excuse me. And I'm thinking like, oh, he's lost?
Yeah.
And he goes, you're just so beautiful. I just want to show you something. And I go, oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. And I just keep walking. Because then all of a sudden, as I approach him, I realize like, oh, he's kind of scraggly. And like,
I mean, just opening with that line, you're like, so I am unstable and I'm going to make you feel uncomfortable.
right.
And I don't care about that at all.
but I'm already not in my,
I also never blink.
I'm not in my like, shell. I'm like
Of
very,
course.
so I was like, oh, thanks. Good. So I start walking this way.
Oh my God,
And
I'm so stressed out.
Then I hear him go, you're walking away from me? You're just going to walk away, and starts following me. So I hear that now behind me. And now I'm at the point in my walk where I'm as far away from my house as I can be.
Oh no.
And the other end of the block is like a completely isolated, it's like by the highway block, right?
God.
So I'm like, okay, so if I turn around, I'm walking back into this guy. If I keep going, I'm walking towards isolation station. Like I'm doing calculations in my head.
Yeah.
And I see this older guy ahead of me with like a huge black dog.
Yes.
And I just walk straight up to him and I'm like, is your dog friendly?
Yes.
And I stop hearing the voice behind me and I just start crying. I go, I'm so sorry, sir. This man is following me. And he's like this old Russian guy. He's like, what do you mean? He's just walking this way. And I was like, nope. And I told him, he said I was beautiful. He started following me. He goes, you keep walking. I will stand here and watch him.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm so sorry. Because I'm like, I don't want to put this guy. I don't know this person. I don't know your name.
Yeah.
I don't know if you live on this block. I don't
But
know.
also, like, if you're annoyed by this old Russian guy, take it up with your gender. Take it up. This is not my fault.
But you
Do
know
what I'm
what's
saying?
so
But
Like,
thank
wild?
God I saw this guy right
Yeah.
there. And he stood in that block, the middle of the block. The guy was not following me anymore. And I just kept walking. I get like, ugh.
Of course.
And
It's
then
like.
my boyfriend, Mike, just so everyone knows.
Oh, okay.
well, that's the
I haven't
episode,
mentioned him in a
guys.
whole podcast.
So what do you no canned sex together then?
But you're having can sex?
We can't have canned sex.
But Mike was like, maybe you need to start carrying like mace with you. And I'm like, at 4 o'clock walking the dog around the
I
block.
know,
And
yeah,
Mike's
yeah.
like,
Maybe,
Right.
yeah.
and I just was like, that is insane to think
Just,
about.
middle of the road.
What?
Do you ever have that thing again? You need to get in the middle of the road, and I don't care which way you keep walking, but middle of the road it.
Why? What?
The statistics on anything happening to you in the middle of the road drop by like 80, 90%.
Who is
Besides
doing
being
that
hit by a
study?
car? What do you mean?
You won't be hit by a car.
You will get hit. You'll die.
You will not get hit by a car. You will.
Well, it's certainly attracting attention from
I see, because if
drivers.
And now
If
this
I'm not
person's like,
hidden
oh,
behind-
I'm going to go out into the middle of the road and follow this person. It's just
Yeah.
like,
You know-
But
they
a
may
car
stay
driving by
on
might
your
not
side.
see you on the sidewalk in danger. But if you're in the middle of the road, they're going, wait, what is this?
What
Right,
is this?
okay.
What is
Yeah,
happening
there is-
here?
there
This
is
is
this-
my old federal
This was
agent.
my idea. I told
Safety
him I
tips.
go give this to her later.
he
but
gives
it's
you
my
improv tips, you give safety tips.
There is this other component, though, too, that is like you had to make a choice to then trust another another stranger. And this happened to me. I was leaving a show late. It was late at night, and I was walking to my car, and there was a man walking behind me, and he was saying stuff and following me and getting too close. And I was super freaked out. And so I saw a guy on the other side of the street, and I crossed the street to get to this other guy
Other stranger.
who seemed, he was in a suit. He was like, looked more composed, but like what Patrick Bateman like can be just as horrifying.
Okay. Oh my
so, but I had to just make that call. The,
Yes.
like lesser
Yeah.
of two evils. Let's
Yeah.
try and trust that guy. And thankfully he was a good guy. He walked me into my car like all of that was fine. Which would be another piece of advice I'd give for men out there. If you are walking on the same side of the street as a woman behind her, just cross the street.
We talk about this.
We've talked about
this
year one in the very
so
first
much.
studio.
I
The
literally
amount of time I go all the way around, way wide, and I go, how's it going? And I just keep going.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I also make shuffling noises if I'm like coming up behind them so that they're like, see I'm behind them. And as soon as they turn to look, I like, hey. And then
I
like, walk
literally
the
do
other way.
But can I
anything
tell
to
you
try to
guys-
communicate like a
I'm
peaceful
here
thing. Like
and-
if I'm on an elevator, even now,
Well,
if I'm on an
this is what-
elevator,
this was the first
I
thing we've ever
literally
said.
will just communicate. I will like
like, "Hi,
turn my
this is my
body
daughter.
away.
This
I will
is-
be like on my phone.
No,
I will
Rory.
just be doing things
The
where I'm
worst-
like, I'm not staring at
not
you.
the-
I'm not
not the
facing you.
worst.
My
But
energy is not going to you.
But
I'm
both
like
of
over
you
here.
guys do not. You both give off a very kind energy. And
Yes.
I can't explain it any other way. Even not knowing you at all, or like
Yes.
just even right away from day one working with you, you were just like, it was like a very kind, not confrontational. I mean, like we all know, we've all been on sets with
Yes.
actors who are like, don't step on my line. Like
You
where
don't
there's
remember?
like a-
Well, our first interaction, it was our very first scene. I came up to you and I go, "Stay out of my way out there."
yeah.
For any, we get like,
I'm not gonna lie. I am gonna start doing that. I'm gonna go say, "Hey, when the scene starts, stand on my fucking way." And if they think that's
You have
funny,
to
I'm
say
like,
the
"We're
out
gonna be
there.
great."
The out there is
stay on my way out there. And
yeah.
if they laugh at
you
that,
know what
I'm
I
like,
like
we're
to
gonna
do?
be fine.
I like to go, did you do your work? Because I did mine. And if you didn't do yours, we're going to have a long day.
Do you say that?
No.
God,
Are you kidding? I would love to witness that and then watch the other person be like, "So I hate Daniel." and then they're amazing in the scene. Daniel's like missing
I will say-
cues.
Fine.
The big difference between you guys is Rory always has this like wah energy, and Daniel is like da 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 da. But if you are not learning, and then you're like, I don't know if you're like, I can't tell if you're serious. I never think you're.
I'm a clown. You
could
can
be like,
say it.
listen, Jordan's really sick, and I'd be like, I don't know if you're serious.
Yeah.
And I would never know if you're not serious.
Goof.
That's the only.
We have a lot of listeners to this, young men who listen to this, guys in college. I just wanted to say,
The fucking clown.
you want to what?
He said who's the fucking clown now.
Oh, don't.
I said I'm a clown and me remind me of a
Stop.
story.
Stop. You can't do this, Roar.
I watched it.
You
I
can't
watched
do this, Rory. Can't go.
I don't know what. This is a chord on your personal guitar that just hits,
Who's the
your personal.
and it
the
just
fucking
hits.
clown?
Who's the clown now?
Are you gonna be okay?
Liz is crying.
I'm fine.
Listen,
I
bet you
do
have a
like that Lissa
six-pack.
tried to call me.
We're working
Lissa
on
tried
this
to
show.
listen to the thing like I'm falling into the abyss of the clown joke, and Lissa and I's fingers did touch. Like,
Yeah.
she did
Like-
try to save
like
me.
God,
like
like God
cliffhanger.
in the.
She like reached
like
out.
cliffhanger.
Don't go there.
Don't do it.
First
Please
scene in
don't
cliffhanger.
go.
But I just want to say to the young men who listen to this, you're listening, maybe a new experience for you. You didn't have a lot of women in your life, and you're hearing like two women tell these stories, and you're like, yeah, but that's like their two experiences. It's every woman
It is.
you know. And I know that that's hard to, and I can't even grasp it. It's like when you fully start to realize how many people really work in the entertainment industry from like, oh, those people just put out plants. Like, it's bigger than you can fully, it's bigger than I even trying to be sympathetic or empathetic can understand. And you want to say to yourself, like, I don't want to, you almost don't want to live in that world where you think that's what people are dealing with every day. They are. And my elevator thing, to piggyback off of you, Roar, is
Press all
if
the
you
buttons.
get in an elevator and you're going to the 8th floor and there's a woman in that elevator and she's already hit 8, you either now are hitting 7 or 9, or you are pretending you forgot something and being like, you know what? I got to catch the next one. And you go
That's
out.
great.
Because the problem is you either then have to stay on,
Yeah.
and when you get off on 8, you have to you do not hold it. You have to get out of that
You gotta
elevator
go first. You gotta go first.
And then you need to walk faster than you've ever walked to get
Yes.
to your thing. If your
Yes.
room is...
Are you currently single or taken?
I'm taken by the
I-
Lord.
Are you taking? Wait, if this is
I
a
am
single
married,
guy,
but I
ladies,
also do this. I am married, but I do also do this. But I cannot be
Yeah.
married. I don't have to be married if we want to make
ladies,
sex.
this is a good guy. Well, if you're single, this is a
I
very
taught him this.
thoughtful, good guy.
And if
I'll like anything to get involved.
if by some chance there's multiple people on the elevator, so you don't realize who has hit 8 and who's going to 10, and so then you get to 8 and a single woman gets off before you, and now you are now getting off at paper. You need to almost rudely be like, you mind if I just get around you really quick? And then you have to then, I'm thinking of hotels. You then have to get
hotels
around
only, yeah.
them.
So you can show you're going not.
You
where
are
they're
going somewhere else, and you can never look back to see what room they went into.
cannot.
And if you stop at your room and they keep going, you cannot look down the hall to see what room that they went into. And you're like, yeah, but I'm not going to do anything. I believe you. I 100%. But what you are going to have done is just scared somebody a little bit more than they needed to be.
You know what also you cannot do? You cannot point out that you're trying to be... You can't go, I'm not following you. That does not help at all.
None of that.
You can't go, my room is down there, I swear I'm not following you. I know what you think you're saying. You're just showing your cards.
You know a good lie?
Even that is like,
Do you
okay,
remember
great.
we did an FYC event, and this fan came up to me and said, I swear to God, I'm not going
yes.
to follow you home tonight. I'm not going to follow you.
Done.
And I
Yes.
was like,
Done. You're out.
I
You're a
literally
bad
was
person.
like, I skipped
Don't
the
say
whole
that.
event.
We all did.
And
We
they
all
made
did based on that one
I
thing.
was like,
Yeah.
guys, this just happened. It was
And
so...
also the inverse of
Never
this.
tell somebody,
and then we didn't
I'm
win the
not being
Oscar.
creepy. Then you're
We
like,
didn't win the Oscar because of that.
it was,
The inverse of this is make up a lie yourself, right? To be like, where you get off, be like, what hotel room did my girlfriend say we're in?
there you go. And then you drop the girlfriend
Yeah,
thing.
but you're doing it in the fabrication so that then they go,
or
oh,
you-
well, that's one woman has vouched for this possible piece of shit, but that's a little bit better than no women vouching for this
also-
possible piece of shit.
But also, here's where you try to do that move, but you screw it up even worse. Where
You're my
you
girlfriend
realize
now.
you're kind of following them, and then you clue in, and you just go, "Oh wait, I'm not even staying in this hotel." You're like, oh wait, that is.
oh, everything's made of guns. I'm a Republican. What do I
Oh wait, I'm
know?
staying in a gun hotel. What is this?
I'm in a gun hotel.
What's this Art Deco? All right, Daniel. Did I
you
read
read
it?
it?
I don't
That
even
is,
remember who I
I
am
will
anymore.
say it's a good point. So many times on this show, I will say, like, I can't speak for all women. I can just say my experience. But in this case, I can speak for all. Like, Dierdre and I are speaking for all women.
I would say I would be
Period.
shocked if there's not a woman who hasn't had
1,000%.
dealing with this and
say.
food issues, body issues, eating issues.
I'm
but like
speaking
both
for
of those
8
things are.
women when I speak, and I've got signatures. They're fine with it.
When I talk about my penis, it's for 8 women.
It's for 8 women. And they've signed off. And I'm from New York again. Casey, thank you so much for this letter.
Casey.
We wish you well. Sincerely, your pen pals, Rory Scovel.
Daniel Van Kirk.
And Dierdre Friel.
Singing solo, or what do you think?
I can do it.
Can you?
I'm prepared this time, 100%.
Fuck, I like that.
Well, we actually don't let people do it anymore. It's just us.
Well, now we don't play a theme song.
Is that true?
no.
We're actually obligated legally.
2024, we lost the rights.